Here's a chilling reality. NATO member Poland just scrambled fighter jets in the dead of night as Russian missiles screamed toward targets dangerously close to its border. And this might be the new normal for Europe's frontline states. In the early hours of Saturday morning, Polish and Allied military aircraft took to the skies in a high-stakes defensive operation after Russia unleashed a fresh wave of airstrikes targeting western Ukraine, perilously near the Polish frontier. The move highlights just how razor-thin the line has become between Ukraine's battlefield and NATO territory. But here's where it gets controversial. Is Poland's response strong enough? Or are NATO countries still playing it too safe while Ukraine burns? The Polish Operational Command didn't mince words in their announcement on social media platform X, stating that Polish and Allied aircraft are operating in our airspace, while ground-based air defense and radar reconnaissance systems have been brought to the highest state of readiness. This wasn't just a routine patrol. This was a nation preparing for the possibility that Russia's war might spill across its borders. The timeline reveals the intensity of the situation. At 3:40 a.m. GMT, virtually the entire Ukrainian territory found itself under air raid sirens as the Ukrainian Air Force issued urgent warnings about incoming Russian missiles and drone swarms. Think about that for a moment. An entire country of 44 million people huddling in basements and shelters while death rained from the sky, just miles from NATO soil. And this is the part most people miss. Eastern European NATO members aren't just watching this unfold from a safe distance anymore. They're living on the knife's edge of a potential Article 5 scenario every single day. The evidence is mounting. Just 10 days earlier, Poland made history by becoming the first NATO member to actually fire weapons during this conflict, shooting down suspected Russian drones that had violated their airspace. Meanwhile, on Friday, yes, just one day before this latest incident, 3 Russian military jets brazenly violated NATO Estonia's airspace for a full 12 minutes in what many are calling a calculated provocation. Poland's aerial operation continued until just after 5 a.m. GMT, when Russian bombardment finally ceased and the immediate threat level dropped. But the psychological impact lingers. NATO's eastern flank is no longer a theoretical tripwire. It's an active zone of potential confrontation. Here's what makes this even more unsettling. Polish prosecutors announced on Saturday that they believe they finally located the last of 24 drones that infiltrated Polish territory during that September 9-10 incident. The final drone was discovered lying in a field in Korsza municipality, northeastern Poland. A stark reminder that Russian military hardware is literally falling from the sky onto NATO soil. At this point, we believe it is the last of the drones being searched for that entered Polish territory on the night of September 9-10, explained Dariusz Brodowski, spokesman for the Olsztyn District Prosecutor, according to PIAP Newswire. 24 foreign military drones in a NATO member's territory. Let that sink in. But here's the million-dollar question that nobody in Brussels wants to address directly. How many more defensive scrambles and drone incursions will it take before NATO is forced to acknowledge that this conflict has already crossed their red lines? The uncomfortable truth is that Poland and other Eastern NATO members are essentially serving as an unpaid security service for the entire alliance, absorbing the spillover effects of a war that threatens to engulf the entire region. Every scrambled fighter jet, every activated air defense system, every moment of heightened alert costs taxpayers millions while putting brave military personnel at risk. Some might argue that Poland's measured response shows NATO discipline and prevents dangerous escalation. Others might contend that this cautious approach only emboldens Russia to push boundaries further, testing Western resolve one violation at a time. What do you think? Is NATO's current approach of defensive scrambles and diplomatic protests sufficient to deter further Russian aggression against member states? Or should the alliance take more decisive action to establish clearer consequences for airspace violations and cross-border incidents? The stakes couldn't be higher, and the margin for error continues to shrink with each passing day. Share your thoughts. Are we witnessing the beginning of a broader conflict? Or is this simply the unfortunate reality of living next to an active war zone in the 21st century?